We're playing some British tunes this hour because we're going to cross now to British-born New Zealand actor Michael Hurst, who's currently on the road somewhere. Where are you, Michael?
Yes, I can hear you.
Ah, jolly good. Okay, of course you can. Now, where are you right now?
In Timaru.
Oh, Timaru.
And we're travelling through towards Geraldine, where we'll be performing this evening. So
it's a rock and roll tour, isn't it, Michael?
If that means we're travelling every day and performing every night and living the motel life, yes, it absolutely is.
It actually just sounds quite grueling, to be honest, but you say that you just love it.
I do love it, and it depends on how far we go. The one day we had to travel from Hokitika to Bannockburn, and the Haast Pass was closed, so we had to go back up over Arthur's Pass, and it was hours and hours. And that was pretty tiring, but honestly, you get on stage, and of course, we talk about Dr. Theatre just fixes everything, and energy and all the rest of it, and then it's home to bed.
That's right. So not out to get on the whiskey post-show.
No, we can't really do that. Half the times, there's nowhere open after we finish the show in the smaller towns. But also, I just need to preserve myself a little bit because there are no breaks until we don't get a day off now till I think Sunday.
Oh,
so
wow.
It's pretty, in that sense, it is pretty grueling. But that's just life.
And like you say, lots of fun, and every night's different. So last night you were in Waimaru at the beautiful opera house there, yeah?
I was. It was lovely and warm and well appointed and a great stage. And then the previous night we were in Twizzle, where their entertainment centre was under repair. Oh. So they put me in this pub. And my set is very basic, but it does revolve around a 5-metre diameter canvas sheet, which is my operating area. But in this pub in Twizzle, we had a 2-metre by 2-metre square with all these, I don't know how to describe it, like wooden gates, country and western sort of stuff behind it.
Gotcha.
So, the thing is, I always go, you walk into a space, and instead of going, oh, God, I've only got 2 meters, I go, this is going to be great. I'm going to adapt, and it's going to be fabulous. Because if I don't have that attitude, what's the point in turning up? It's got to be, I've got to be buzzing and full of fun, or the audience won't be. So.
That's dead right, and credit to you. I mean, people do overlook places like Arrowtown, which is where you were on the weekend, and Waimaru, and they're wonderful places. And Twizzle is a highly underrated place. And I need to mention what the play is. Of course, it's got the Golden Ass, and I'm looking at a picture of you right now, and this is based on a 2,000-year-old Roman play, and it's a terrific story, isn't it? Because it's about a young man who's trapped in a donkey's body, but you look like you are loving every minute of being dressed up like this.
Yeah, it's got a wicked quality to it because, as a donkey, of course, people forget that, you're a human inside, and so their behaviour is very revealing, all of the levels of human sort of duplicity and wickedness and debauchery often. And then it's also uplifting too, because basically it's a tale of redemption. He has to go through this process to become redeemed and understand that what he needs in life, what we all need, is empathy. Empathy in a world gone mad. And look, ancient Rome or now, it's bloody near identical, isn't it, when you think about it?
It's so strange. It's true, though. It's like you said in one of your quotes, and you had a delightful French quote about, that expression, the more things change, the more they stay the same. And, so how bizarre that something 2,000 years old can be relevant, today.
Well, I often look at the whole catastrophe that is American politics at the moment, and it's like watching the fall of the bloody Roman Republic, which is, give the people, feed them the stuff they need, which is, bread and circuses, is famously Roman. And you look at what's going on, we'll feed them all this crap just to keep them happy so we can get on and get their votes. Nothing's changed. Nothing has changed.
No.
So,
the world needs the Golden Ass right now.
Yeah, the world needs my golden ass. It's
Your
really
golden
funny. Ass. I often say to people, will you come and see my golden ass? And they go, yeah. But of course, in a lot of the social media platforms, they can't use it because of the word ass.
Oh, for goodness sakes.
The machine, the whatever it is, the bot that governs it, just program won't allow that to be on. And I kind of get it, but it's a bit silly, really, when you think about it.
Terribly silly. It's very precious. And I do notice, though, that children aren't really encouraged to come along, are they? It's quite bawdy.
Yes. It is quite bawdy. I think, like the Canterbury Tales or the Decameron, all of those, immense rambling stories. It is a bit like that, and it does get a bit edgy, and that's what theatre needs to do. Comfortable theatre is inevitably boring theatre to me. So this does take you down this world. He goes into a very, very dark place in order to come back. And at half the time it feels a bit like stand-up, but it isn't, but it feels like that because the audience, what I've learnt working over the last week or so. And remember, I've only been doing the show for a week. When we were in Te Awamutu a week and a half ago, a Friday night, it was the first time I'd ever done it in front of anybody.
Good Lord.
So it was a real learning curve because we couldn't get it up in Auckland. Every time we tried to put it in front of an audience, COVID just stopped us. And when I was rehearsing it, I was in a room by myself. There was no director, just me. It was kind of weird.
Yes.
But getting it in front of the audience, and I've learned they love it. They interact. They say things to me. They pick up on things, and it was something I hadn't quite expected to happen to that extent. So it's been fantastic, actually.
Hey, that's interesting, Michael. So they'll actually, while you're performing, they're saying things, and that doesn't worry you at all. That you love that.
No. It's positive. Like I'll do something like there's a moment where there's a woman in the play called Erotica.
Yeah.
Just going to put it out there. And she is what the name is. Yeah. And but at one point I say I never saw Erotica again, and you get people going, oh, like a pantomime, and then I can respond to that and say, yes, I know, it's terrible, isn't it, or whatever.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's largely up to me to ride that wave and enjoy it, which I thoroughly do. Honestly, it really has enriched the show. And it's getting an enormous amount of traction. I'm amazed at how many people have heard about it. I think because it's so naughty, that's why. I
think so too. Plus the look, as I say, in the shot. And I don't know, I have a fascination with donkeys. I don't know what it is. Can I say that in public? I do. Okay. I do. I think they're an interesting ancient creature, and I just this whole Roman aspect to it as well just adds that extra layer. And I think people, obviously this has got some hilarity, and people want to laugh, and they want to be a bit naughty again. And if they're going to theatre, and plus of course they want to go and see you, Michael, because I mean, let's face it, you are Kenneth Branagh. You're just incredible. I mean, I hope you don't take that as an insult. I mean, like, you are. No, we're very fortunate to have you, and you've got a lot of experience. So people know when they book a Michael Hurst show, they're going to get something good, and I think that's part of it. But also, you've obviously hit on something. A theme that people like, I guess.
I think another aspect of what you're saying, and thank you for that lovely compliment, is I don't know, I'm not ashamed of, I don't mind making a fool of myself. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I mean a healthy, people need that in their lives. There's a great tradition of fooling. Kings had fools. We look at comedians these days. They do something that the people want. And in this thing, when I'm the donkey, I mean, it's ludicrous what I do.
Yeah.
And I won't give it away, but, I don't have any shame about that. And I think people actually enjoy that.
Yes.
It's something that often they can't do, but I do it for a living. So,
exactly.
It's an honourable thing.
And they live vicariously through you and your free, uninhibited delivery. And it does sound. I really need to see this. So tonight you're in Geraldine, yes? How can I see
tonight, Geraldine.
Yeah, you're getting further and further away. Yes. Where's next?
Well, Ashburton,
right,
and then Akaroa, and then we're off up to Picton, and then parts north. There's still another 2 weeks or so to go.
All right.
And by the end of it, I'll have done 28 towns. So
isn't that amazing?
That's wonderful. I mean, it's just And as I say, the variation, we go from 2-metre square sets in a pub to the Opera House. We're going to a lovely little theatre in Geraldine, and then, the event centre in Ashburton. So there's every kind of adaptable set. It's pretty neat. It's like being a roving troubadour in a way, which in itself is ancient,
This is the thing, and what you just said then, it does sound very much like Shakespearean times.
And of course, Shakespeare borrowed from this Apuleius book. I mean, you look at in A Midsummer Night's Dream, Bottom turns into an ass.
That's right.
So there's a whole. It is the original donkey story. It was based on a slightly older one, but it's the most famous one, and it's the first donkey show that ever was.
Yes.
And, inspired a whole lot of people. Right through Keats and Cervantes, and all these people were inspired by this notorious book.
Yes, and so really, when Arts on Tour came to you, I suppose that's what you thought. You just went, I know. What about this? And did they take convincing or not?
Here's a funny story. So I'd read the book many, many years ago in translation by Robert Graves. It's wonderful. I was moved by the book. I really was. For all its, bawdiness, and at the end of it, it's so moving when he begs to become a human again, and I thought, this is profound. Anyway, Arts on Tour said to me, well, have you got another idea? And I went, well, maybe this. And so I put that picture you see, I had that with Michael Hurst is the golden ass, and that's all I had, that picture.
Yes.
Thinking, well, maybe people might pay to see that. And suddenly we got all these bookings, 28 bookings. I hadn't even written it. So
truly.
That was a score. Yeah, and there was no, it didn't take convincing at all. They just said, it'll be good.
Yeah, you see, this is it, and that's your name, and that's your brand, as quality, and it's entertainment. It's funny how you mentioned how it felt a little bit like stand-up comedy in a way. I suppose it does, and it must be quite intimate in some of these settings.
It is intimate, very much. The audience is only a metre away from me, and I can see them, of course, and it does become a relatively intimate experience, I think. Though mostly, a lot of them just sit there. I'll be honest, they sit there gaping at me wondering what the hell is going on. Not that they can't follow it, but where is it going to go? Because it just goes all over the place. So there's a lot of stunned faces.
Did it take you very long to create, to write?
I started working on it about 18 months ago, and there was a slow process of reading and deciphering, and then approaching it with my own approach, because I've modernized it a lot and changed the names and done a whole lot of work on it. But in terms of focused work, well, that happened from the beginning of the year. I had about 4 days with my friend and dear colleague John Gibson, who's a composer but a great dramatic mind. And he and I spent 4 days together with me sort of getting up in front of him and doing a whole, a few pieces from it, and developing some character delineation. Then he went off to Europe, and then I was left on my own. Then COVID came, so we had to shut down. But then I got into rehearsals, and we did 2 weeks, basically. I did 2 weeks rehearsal. And that was a matter of really cutting away a lot of material. The original is like 400 pages, so already I was cutting a lot. But we had to really stream it down, streamline it so that it became in palatable chunks. Otherwise, it was just going to be a big rambling piece that's too long. This is really pithy now. And,
pithy, good word.
A pithy act.
A pithy production.
Yes. There's a company, Pithy Productions.
Pithy Productions. Oh, this is great. So what's the weather like where you are right now? I heard an indicator in the car. We're talking with Michael Hurst, if you've just tuned in, and he's currently en route between Timaru and Geraldine with his Golden Ass production play, which sounds just wonderful, so do go see it. Now, Michael, I was just saying, is it? It's not snowing there, is it?
No. It's actually quite lovely. It's balmy. It's grey, overcast, but I can see some blue sky in the distance. We seem to be getting into some nicer weather, though I hear there's going to be another weather bomb, but who knows?
Always
as long as we can get where we're going, we're okay.
That's right. I have this image of you in kind of like this big, sort of VDub Combi with the, with Golden Ass on the side, but I guess it's not like that. Are you?
We are travelling in a van. It's not a VDub Combi. It's a Japanese thing, and it's really good. I mean, it drives beautifully. It's very modern, and on the side it's got arts on tour, taking taking classy arts or something like that top artists to top towns.
Oh, very good.
It's like we drive into that. Hi, we're from Arts on Tour. You know, we kind of have this because it's a great big van. You can see people going, what the hell is that? You know.
Look out, we're heading to your town. I know.
That's right.
That's right. So it's quite visual. So I suppose people are curious in the smaller southern towns, and they want if a stranger rolls up, you know, some people are a little bit nervous. So do you get funny looks?
Do I get funny looks? Yeah, in my life, I've had many funny looks.
Only, I suppose, as in your role as the Golden Ass.
Oh yeah, well that's a kind of ludicrous. I would never walk down the street in that costume. Let me tell you. No, people are generally, you know, welcoming. Actually, it's amazing. The other thing I've noticed in the smaller towns, they have these amazing amateur dramatic societies. You know, like in Hokitika, the theatre there, lovely old little theatre. It was the old Masonic Hall. You go to the dressing room, and there's just heaps and heaps of photos of past productions of the locals, and it's actually surprising to me how much there is out there. People really do the thing. They do plays up in Takaka.
Yes,
wow,
tiny place
that they built themselves. And they do all these productions that I think, how do they do that? Cabaret or Oklahoma. How do they do that with a stage that's tiny and the locals? But they do. They get the amateur rights and they put them on. You know, fantastic.
It's healthy, isn't it?
It's healthy, yeah. The world needs theatre.
Oh, more than ever. Something I often feel starved of living in this part of the world, in Queenstown. And
right.
I wasn't here on Sunday night. Otherwise, I would have been at the Arrowtown show, which is very disappointing for me. And as I say, I've just got to somehow manage to see you. Perhaps I can. I'm sure I'll track you down somewhere because you've still got a lot of dates to do. But yeah, it's interesting. You know, I think I'm going to speak with someone later in the program from Cromwell. And about theatre there, and I think it's good to put them in the spotlight and to ask them about the challenges of putting on productions, you know, and they're passionate about it.
Yeah, I think that it just makes for a richer society if you've got somewhere that people can be to share the moment, to go through the ritual of theatre. I mean, let's face it. You have to take yourself to a special building. You have to go through the entranceway. The lights have to go down, and the thing happens, and you go through from the beginning to the end, and then at the end you leave feeling better. It's a bit like a dirty church, isn't it? It's like a you know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
It does have religious roots, but it doesn't have all the prohibitive crap that goes with religion generally. So, you know, that's kind of my view.
I really like that analogy, and I think it's because it gets you in your soul. It's uplifting, and you feel like you've had an experience which has taken you out of yourself. And yeah, church, you know, it depends what you're into. But no, I know what you mean. It's a great feeling. And as you say, when the lights go down, off you go, and you're in a different world then. And
that's right.
Yes.
And for me, I have to be the person that takes them from the beginning of the ritualized piece. And, you know, it's a written thing to the end. It's my job to do that. And that, if you really want to look at a sort of academic analogy, that is a priestly function. And
yes.
And you know, actors were in fact that kind. The issue, what you can do with theatre is you can explore things that are edgy and open and not restricted, which is why through history the church has feared the theatre. I mean, in Elizabethan times, they just wanted to shut down the theatres. Because when you start asking questions about fate, in other words, in a play, the god of the play is the writer. In the world, the god of the world is the great writer, you know, according to religion, which is God. So in a play, if you see something happen to someone good, that something bad happens to them, you go, why did that happen? In life, you're asking the same question, why does God allow suffering? It prompts those questions. It interrogates providence. And so because of that, it's dangerous for the churches, because it starts making you ask what's really going on.
Makes people question. Yes.
Exactly. And, great religions don't want you to do that. They want you to just shut up and behave and believe. And
yes.
be ready for the afterlife, which doesn't exist. So, there we go. That's right. A whole different thing. I know you're going to get a lot of probably people saying, why is he saying that? But that's my view.
Well, I think it's very interesting. We spoke with a filmmaker yesterday, who's done a new doco on Gloria Vale. And honestly, if there's ever a better example of people who've been, turned into slaves and trapped, it's certainly that community. Very sad, sad stories, and people's lives completely ruined and turned upside down by that. And it's happening in this century,
It happens all over the place. It happens, every major religious structure is stuck in its own need to protect itself, to me. And it's all about power and the patriarchy. I mean, there's a whole discussion we could have here that would take hours, but you know what I'm saying.
I totally do.
And that's in the play too. We need to move on away from those linear power structures and have much more, if you like, a much more feminine, female type of circularity, if you get me. That's what's in play.
Yeah, I hear you. So there are many, many good reasons to see the Golden Ass. And also, I must ask you, though, I suppose you've had some quite hilarious little episodes at some of these centres. Is there anything that stands out that will remain with you from this tour so far?
Mainly this audience interactive thing. The other night, one woman was just hysterical at a certain aspect of my costume, which I won't go into. And I was just able to tell her off, in a funny way, saying, you should be ashamed of yourself. This isn't a pantomime, it's a highly esteemed show, all of this stuff. And it was for me like being in a pantomime, and I loved it. So, that's the standout so far. I mean, that and the tiny stage in Twizzle where, although they'd closed the bar, the kitchen was open.
Right.
And so while I was doing all these deeply moving pieces with lovely, meditative music behind them, from the kitchen you can hear the clanging of pots and the spraying of the cleaning hose, and people are, you're right there, Colin, yeah, not so bad, how are you? And I'm like, oh, well, that's just the way of it.
Oh, that's brilliant. What was the name of the pub in Twizzle? Do you remember?
Oh, no, I can't remember. No, I can't remember. All I knew was the pub.
Maybe it is the pub. Maybe that's all. I'm not sure if they've got more than one, actually. I should know that. I've had many stopovers in Twizzle. I don't know why, but sometimes on road trips I've ended up there. And, it's always been interesting. It's a great little town. But one farmer said something to me recently I thought was very cruel. He said, Twizzle, why did they build anything there? He said, that's where sheep go to die.
Oh, my God.
Well, I thought that was a bit harsh.
What do you call somebody who lives in Twizzle? Twizzolian or whatever? But they would be
Twizellian.
Twizellian. Well, I thought it was great, And, of course, the day we left, it was completely blanketed in snow, which was rather lovely.
Ooh.
And then luckily we got out.
Yes, well, this is the thing. I was going to say, you're very ambitious doing this in July, in the middle of probably, a big wave of COVID again, and all these things that could have disrupted you. And here you are, you're actually forging a path and managing to present these shows. Good on you.
Thanks, yeah.
Really. And so I suppose I'm going to have to let you go, but can I ask you about upcoming projects, Michael?
Yes. Sure. I get back to Auckland, I'll have a bit of a rest and a cup of tea and a lie down. And then I'm going to be directing some episodes of Power Rangers, which is, the television show that's been going for years and years and years and years and years.
Okay.
And that's my bread and butter for the next while. And then I'm not really sure, we'll probably do a reworking of this show, given what we've learned, and make it, tidy it up a bit, and then put it on in Auckland, and it'll have a life, I hope. I'd like to take it to festivals and maybe Edinburgh and all of that. But next year, in the middle of the year, I think there's a King Lear going to be happening, so that's something that I'll be aiming at. And that's really all I've got planned. I never really know what I'm doing 6 months in advance. It's always been like that. So
yes, you're used to it.
I'm good to the end of the year.
Right. Yeah, that's right. I mean, the life of an actor based in New Zealand is never. I imagine it's never easy, even if you're at the top of your game. I imagine that there are uncertain times and times of feast and times of famine.
There are. I mean, luckily, I'm married to a fabulous actor, Jennifer Ward-Leland. She's also not only an actor, but she's now an intimacy coordinator. She's fluent in te reo Māori, and she has a very, how can I put it, her sense of civic duty is very well developed, and she's in demand in that regard. I mean, she was New Zealander of the Year, of course, so that comes with a whole bunch of stuff.
That's right.
So we're always, one of us or the other is always on to something. So it's been a very mutually benefit relationship, let alone a marriage, for years, you know. So we kind of move along together rather well.
It's just so great. Jennifer Ward-Leland, honestly, a tremendous human being, and she's such a brilliant actress or actor, I should say. You don't say that anymore, do you? And
no, she likes being called an actress. She likes that. It's not a problem. Actress.
Okay. Well, this is good, and no, I agree, and it is. I think in your profession it must be quite nice living with someone too who shares the pressures of the job, or the fact like you're away for a period of time now, and she knows that that's part of what you do, and that's you having a good time and enjoying your craft.
Well, I think both of us. The other aspect is that we both actually like each other's work. Like, I think she's really great, and I think she thinks I'm really, good as well. So that's very. Actually, we are each other's best critics too. I mean, my go-to to her is always, "Is that all right?" And if she says, "Yeah, it's good," I know it's fine. But if she says, "Oh, I need to," then whatever I do need to, So.
Yeah, so you can help each other out in that respect, and you trust each other and your judgment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. How fabulous.
Yeah, well, after 30 years or whatever it is, we were married in 1988, and we've been together since 1983. So, if we don't trust each other by now, there's something wrong.
Too right, there is. That's right. So I'm sure she's keeping. She's busy in Auckland, and you're touring around, and I guess she'll come along and see you when you perform this up there.
Yeah, she's never seen it. She's only read the reviews. She's going, "Oh, I'd love to see it." And I was like, "Well, you'd have to wait till next year, I think, unless I give her her private performance at home." But that's another story.
Well, where would erotica go?
Yes, we don't mention erotica around Jennifer.
Oh, you're a treasure, Michael, and it's been so great talking with you. I imagine that we might lose some reception soon, so I should let you get on the road, rest your voice, keep up the, I don't know, what do you do for health, for a bit of a health boost on the road? Do you grab juices? I mean, pretty much in the south there's lots of good health food. There's cheese rolls, pies and coffee, pretty much.
Yeah, it's generally lunch in the mid-afternoon, and really that's probably the main meal because I can't eat anything before the show. So, but I don't mind, a good pub lunch, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It's fine. I'm a pretty healthy person, so, I don't particularly go for, health foods. I'm not a vegetarian or anything, but I don't eat a lot. That's my main thing. And what I eat, I use. Yeah,
that's right. I bet you burn it off every night and then some.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, you're just brilliant, and all the best with the Golden Ass Tour. I want to laugh every time I say it.
I know.
And when I see your photo, so I think I'll pop up this picture on the platform website, and people can have a look. And I'm sure that they will be so excited to book and to see this great production. Check it out in your town. Michael, travel well, and good on you. Appreciate your time.
No worries. Thanks a lot. See you later.
Kia ora. Bye-bye. Okay, so Michael Hurst on the road to Geraldine this afternoon, taking his Golden Ass Tour to Aotearoa. What a fantastic chat, a great sense of humour,